I would say probably more than 60% of all the revenue from the entertainment industry goes to the traditional TV industry. So there's a lot of money there. The problem is they don't want people to leave that because they have the deals, they have the money there. They just need something to enable people to stay. I think the use of our technology will help them a lot.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the video platform category. I'm super excited to be with Johnny. Johnny is the CEO of Sceenic. Johnny, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us and for opening the space for Sceenic.
Yeah, absolutely. To give context about why we're having this interview, I mean, we looked at well over 60 companies in what we think are in the video platform category globally. And one of the companies that really stood out to us was Sceenic. They built a software solution that's quite unique, I would say. And I don't think you're going to see any other players that have an impressive technology stack that really allows individuals to truly engage over video content in a way that you'll see anywhere else. We're going to dive a little bit more deeper in what that is and what that means. But Johnny, you have a fantastic video that you shared with us. We're just going to cut to real quick so that the audience has a good baseline understanding of who is Sceenic. We'll jump into questions. Sounds good?
Perfect.
Cool. Johnny, thank you so much for the video. I think it's actually a great video on giving the audience a good understanding of how individuals can socialize while watching content live. I think it's really cool. Before I jump into questions about the product itself, did you actually have any, is there a backstory behind why this company started?
Yes, of course. Actually, yeah, it's quite interesting story. Like we have been around for a while. So like for maybe some people think like, oh yes, this is a COVID company. No, we have been around for quite a while, like over 7 years. Actually, as a company, we started the company probably in 2010. Like we started like I'll say like that was a digital content platform. So we, like most of the founders in the company, meaning like the CEO of the company, our fourth co-founder, which is no longer part of the company, we came from the entertainment industry. So they both used to work at MTV, and I used to work in the music industry. And what we used to do at that time was like bringing artists and concerts and all that kind of stuff to the platform that we had back then. We produce content in Latin America. That's where we started as a company. And towards 2013, our CEO said, like, guys, we need to build a platform with our own technology. So what happened in the digital platform that we had at the time was that all the interaction that we had with the audience was through like Twitter. So people will be watching live streaming on an interview with an artist, but all the interaction was like through Twitter, and that was it. Like, so it was very like, you know, people will be involved in the interviews, will be involved in the live streamings, but like in a way that wasn't like good enough for us. We will bring people to see their artists or to have the chance to video chat with them, like, you know, by doing like some contest, you know, who wants the content has the right to speak to the artist via video. And then the CEO Paul said, like, guys, we need to build our own technology. We need to stop using others companies' technologies to do that. We need to bring all the interaction within our platform. So he's okay, let's do it. And then we started raising investment. We did it, like, you will say, like, pretty quickly. I would say we raised our first investment back in 2014, like beginning of 2014. Before that, it was all our savings and the money we got from our other jobs. And then we managed to be like a great platform, I will say, at the time. um, we had content and we had our own technology. So in that platform, you will be able to watch live streamings, but also invite your friends to watch with them. So and we went through many names, like we used to call it, like, it's time to show your face, like, can't remember, like, we had multiple until we got like watch together. So we're talking about like 2014 with that name, watch together. uh, so we went out to the public with that platform, like, I'll say, like, last quarter of 2014, beginning of 2015. We started getting some traction. We started getting like users in that platform, blah, blah. But guess what? We learned very fast that it was extremely costly, extremely expensive to produce content and also to have a tech company because we became a tech company. And it was a very hard decision to go from being like content producers in a digital world, and I also, like, with the brand at that time was called Say Yeah, that it was like successful, like in Latin America, to show that down and say, okay, we're gonna become a software company. Very hard, but we did in 2016. We said, like, okay, we need to drop this and just focus on the technology. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna offer the technology that we have to the ones that already own the content, because it makes sense, right? They just have to buy the technology. So as easy as it might sound, we dropped what we used to do. We'd say yeah, and we jumped into becoming a software company. Wasn't easy at all. In 2016, when we went to our first clients, they said, like, no, guys, like, what are you talking about? We watch together. What is that? you know, what do you think people would, watch content with their friends? And no, 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 no. Like, so it was pretty hard, but yeah, that's the backstory. Long story short, because I like, if I sit here with you, we could spend probably like many hours telling you everything about the story and what exactly happened. But long story short, that's the background of how Scenic was born in 2013, let's say, right? More like a proper software company. And then here we are, 2021. I don't know what happened with that 2020. Like, it's like, but yeah, here we are as a company right now, software provider. So we're no longer a platform. We as a company, we're born as a platform. We're a software company right now. That's what happens. That's the background of Cynic.
There's a couple components from that you mentioned that kind of stands out. First, seeing from almost the content creation side, the importance of keeping individuals engaged on your own platform, whether it's, you create your own content and that is, they have the social channels in which they can be in video, versus having to move off to another platform to communicate and discuss how they feel and share what their insights or anything that they'd like about the content that you've created. Uh, back in, especially back in 2013, having that foresight is really impressive. And then on the flip side, seeing that you guys are from this, the creator, I would say, or the content creation ecosystem, realizing that there is a true need for seeing how that there's a need for that engagement and enabling that, not just for yourself and the content that you created, but also making that switch and also helping other individuals or other platforms. In this case, it's OTT providers and broadcasters having empowering in them to have that capability and for themselves. I think that's it's quite unique. I want to get into the product itself. It's interesting that you made that switch in basically providing a platform, whether it's an API or SDK for broadcasters or OTT providers that enable them to have or at least allow their audience to have video interactions with each other while watching content. Can you walk us through, how does a user actually use this tool? Like, how do they set it up? How do they call their friends? How do they interface with it? Is this something that they have to install on their TV or something? Or, how large can your social groups be? I'm just curious if you can walk us through the user experience.
Yeah, like the user experience is very simple. Why? Because as we're a software company, we provide the service directly to the OTT platforms, directly to the ones that already have a platform, that already have the content. So let's say you're a user of one of our clients in the UK. It's BT Sport. Uh, I think is the one that has done like a massive deployment and a lot of marketing around the Watch Together feature. So they already had an existing BT Sport app where people will go and watch content with their friends, and they'll have actually a really good experience because it's a great app. They have 360 cameras, they have a bunch of stuff there. So our technology becomes part of that existing app. So actually, you as a user, the only thing you have to do is download the latest version of the app, and then you will have the feature there. So there's nothing additional that you have to do for that. How accessible is the technology within the app? Is just a simple button that will show like that depends, of course, on each client where they put like the icon, but it will have an icon that will show like watch together, watch with friends. Like many clients call it in a different way. In the case of BT, they call it watch together. You have an icon there. You will press that icon, and it will show you the list of friends that are already BT users, and they already have an app. And it will show you as well like the list of friends on your phone that are not users, and you will be allowed to invite them. It will be again up to the client if they allow people that are not subscribers to join on a session or not. That helps a lot of companies just to bring new users. But let's say you have friends that are already BT users. It's as simple as inviting them. They will get a push notification, or you can copy and paste the link. They will send that through SMS, WhatsApp, via email, whatever you choose to use. They will get that unique link, and they will join. Simple as that. They will be able to join with the audio or join with the camera, and watch basically the same content synchronized, which is one of the biggest challenges that we faced, synchronization. But they will be able just to be on the same screen with you. So it's not a separate experience, as you pointed out before. Like when we started, like second screen were like a big thing. This experience is just in the same screen. Now, a number of people that the technology allows into a platform. Well, technologically speaking, we can include like 20, 40 people on a video call, on a watch together session. But there's some limitations that come more for the network that you're using, which like if it's 5G, of course, is better, but not entire like population around the world has access to 5G. It works on 4G as well, but of course it will work way better on 5G. That's one. So the capacity that your device has to support like many people on camera, say CPU and all that kind of stuff that will make the communication extremely heavy. So what we have seen, what we recommend is to have 4 people, 6 maximum, that depending on the device that you're using. Like if you're using a laptop, you can have, easily 7, 10, 20 people on your session. But if you're doing it on a mobile, we recommend up to 4 people. That's the best experience in terms of how fluid and how fast the communication is going to be, but also how the cameras will look like, because the more cameras you have, the smaller they are. So it's not a great experience. uh, but the number of people can go up like high. But the recommendation that we have, especially for mobile devices, is 4. For bigger screens, you can have up to 6, 7 people maximum. Like if we're talking about like a big screen, a TV, depending on the size of your screen, you can have more people and the experience will still be good. But yeah, that's more like a recommendation, but it's very simple. You go to the app, you click on the icon, it says invite friends, and you invite the friends that you have on your list that are already users, so invite new friends to the platform to live the experience with you, and they will land exactly in the same content that you're watching, 100% synchronized. It's simple from the user perspective. It is a bit of a challenge, like when it comes to make the technology works and everything that is behind. Yeah.
No,
But for the user is very simple, and that's how you need to keep it, right?
I was going to say the one thing that's impressive about your platform is the technology feat that is required for not only making that capability or functionality work in a way that it's simple for the users to interface with, but at the same time, they have that ability to be interactive video, live video on a screen with other content, with multiple people at the same time. It could be audio and video format, either or. I mean, it's that's hard. That's not. But it's
It's a
also
bit of a challenge.
interesting how you've applied the your approach in this way, because I think this is videos. I think overall, just having looked at the entire media landscape, is one of the most compelling categories of content overall. And it's really difficult to work with video, and it's really difficult from a social perspective. It's really difficult when creating content. It's really difficult to distribute content. And there's very, very few companies that have taken on that ambition to try to figure out what more can we do with video consumption that engages individuals? What more can we do that's going to make that content experience more exciting? So I think, it's impressive, and it's very cool that not only what users can do and what, at least your customers can do. But I'm just curious, what what type of content do you guys are focused on? Is there, the customers that you're engaging with, are they primarily in the sports realm, or is this primarily entertainment content? Where are you guys kind of aligning yourself in the beginning?
Look, we came from entertainment, and basically was music, right? So we saw watch together as a tool for friends to watch a concert together, to watch um, let's say interviews with artists as well, and to have that opportunity, to chit chat with their friends whilst watching, like, an interview. And we saw good use for our technology back then to be applied on, reality TV. But also, we closed we closed a really good deal, content deal with Sony Pictures, like back in 2015, right? And we saw a fair of, usage for movies as well. So we thought, okay, this is it. This is how people are going to use the technology for music, interviews, or reality TV, for movies. But then when we started serving clients in Europe and in the UK, we saw that the main interest for them was sports, and it makes total sense. It makes total sense. Like, is when is way different when you're watching a movie, which is very, like, relaxed and you're very quiet, or to when you're watching a football match, or a rugby game. You're like screaming, you're like, wow, you're showing emotions, and making fun of your friends if they're not part of the same team, and all that kind of stuff. So we saw that the consumption of our technology for sports was greater than we were expecting. And basically what we have seen is that more of the clients that we have right now tend to use the technology for sports. With that said, we do have clients such as OTT platforms. We have a client in the Netherlands, NPO, which is a public broadcaster, but they have a NPO Star, which is an OTT as Netflix. I think is the third biggest after Netflix in the Netherlands, and they're using the technology for movies, for reality TV, for what we thought the technology was going to be used for, and they got like a fair amount of users using the technology for that. But I believe, like, yeah, when it comes to showing emotions, when it comes to sharing like special things, I think that the things that are happening live, especially sport, will be the ones that will use our technology when it comes to watch together. Like, when it comes to jointly watch a piece of content, sports. But I will say, like, there's still plenty of space for other categories and for other kind of content, with the use of our technology.
Yeah, it definitely seems. I mean, sports would be a big one for sure. And but I could see how, almost every form of content there would be an application. I mean, which eh, there's in any viewing setting, most of the time you would be watching with another individual, and that person that may be in the same room or not, or for the first time you're enabled to watch content with family members or friends who you weren't able to before because maybe they don't live in the same place, or
Exactly.
it's interesting.
Exactly. Exactly. Look, my wife and her friends all have kids. So you can imagine it gets very difficult to go out and hang out with your friends. And even if you want to watch something, like, it gets harder when you have kids, right? And they have been asking for the technology to be used for Love Island. We want to watch Love Island. Like, when is your technology going to be available for us, so we don't have to go out and we don't have to use WhatsApp, to talk about this and send photos of what we're watching and blah blah blah. And I said, like, look, this is not on us. Like, we, the ones that own the content here, the ones that have to enable the technology on the platform. But you see, so there's some, like, need for that technology in other spaces, like in different categories of content. So yeah.
Going off of that, I do want to clarify that you guys are a software solution that is going and directly partnering or enabling either OTT providers or broadcasters to have that for their own ecosystems, as opposed to what you explained in the beginning. You guys actually started with becoming a content provider and trying to layer on your technology as a differentiator. But content it's a difficult space to play. It's really, really hard. So juggling those two things at the same time, I could only imagine what you guys were going through. But I'm just curious, just from your customer's perspective, having your software integrated into their platform, what type of benefits are they seeing when working with Scenic?
Okay, so I'll say, like, there are different types of benefits that clients that are using our technology will be looking into. Like, um, I'll say some of them will be looking into just a differentiator, like innovation. So from that perspective, they want to offer something different, or they wanted to offer something different. It's important to mention that, for example, with a client like BT, we have been working with them for 3 years now. So not even for COVID. Like, it was a long-term relationship before we went out. And for them, innovation was key. BT is a brand that has always been, like, very innovative, and they have a lot of things. If you go to their app, as I mentioned, they have Dolby surround system on their app. Like, they have 360 cameras. They have, like, augmented reality features as well. And now they added, like, watch together. So it's a whole experience that they have within their app. Uh, uh, but it was a long relationship, like before we came up with this to the market. So for them was about innovation. With other clients has been like, we need to bring more users to our platform. So as a marketing tool works perfectly, because if you think about this, like you can have a lot of promotions, you can have a lot of marketing campaigns or whatever, but in the end, the word of mouth is something that keeps bringing users to buy a product. Like if you want to buy a car, you can watch a lot of reviews, but you probably end up with the recommendations that you hear from your friends that have the same car, that had a previous experience with the brand. So you always trust that. So the word of mouth is like, bringing a friend to share an experience with you. And so as a marketing tool has been working well as well, because they will bring like new users to the platforms. And for others has been about like reducing churn, as well. Oh, we're losing people. What if we give them like features that will keep them like entertained, that will give them a reason to remain in our platform, you know and that's another thing. And I almost forgot about one as well. Like, the more time that you get people consuming your content, the more time that you have for advertisers to show what they want to sell. Therefore, like, if we have seen, and we're just doing our internal research and analysis of all the numbers that we have, but so far what we have seen is that actually watching together with your friends, when you're doing that, you spend more time watching the content that when you're by yourself. We have seen that the uh, the increase of that is considerably high. And we will come up with some numbers like in a couple of weeks. But is surprisingly good how a watch together experience can benefit like a platform from various like stand points. So marketing, innovation, reducing churn, like engaging people to spend more time on their platforms. And we're discovering many other user behaviors that will help the OTT platforms as well, to build content probably around that experience as well. You know.
Um, I'm curious, though, from your perspective, seeing what you've done for the customers that you've worked with, are there any like psychological traits or trends that you've learned when you've now enabled people to watch content together? How do you think? I guess how do you think the usage of your technology is changing, or has the behaviors of your customers' audience now have changed a little bit now that they have this capability of being able to interact with each other over video?
I think still a little bit early to say that we have seen like a massive change, you know, in people behavior. We're still analyzing all the information that we're gathering, but I think in a certain extent, yes, it had changed quite a lot, because when you're watching content by yourself, uh, like you're just watching there laying down, there's no interaction between you and the content. There's no way that can happen. But when you're watching with someone else, there are a lot of emotions involved watching the content. you know Humans are used to share things, and what we've seen before, you know we even like went public with this technology, was that people were creating like chats on WhatsApp just to share. For example, one example, Game of Thrones, you know, was a massive success globally, and many people, like, no matter which country they were, like they were sending like videos and chatting with their friends about that, and their emotions about like Jon Snow and blah 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 whatever. that was something about that you won't experiment if you're watching by yourself and not sharing anything about that. You get more involved with the content that you're watching uh, when you're watching it with someone else. Like if you're watching like I don't know, a car drag race, you know, like you, oh my god, what a car, blah blah blah. When you're watching it by yourself, what's gonna happen? Oh, yes, cool, but there's no way that you can involve an emotion there because there's no one seeing or experiencing your emotion there. So definitely from the psychological perspective, Watch Together has shown that we as humans need to share what we're living, because this is an experience that, life is an experience that we need, we want to share with others, especially with the people we love. uh, so I'll say that for the industry, which the Watch Together feature is doing, the co-viewing experiences are bringing, is getting the people more emotionally involved with the content. If they weren't before, now they're totally involved with that. So probably before you will engage because you like something, that's it. You had a good engagement, but that's it. Now you involve your emotions because you're sharing that with other people. And I think that's great, and that's going to open the opportunity for many other things, like like advertising, like bringing new features like virtual things to the screen, and all the kind of engagement tools on top of co-viewing. So it's actually is an enabler that will bring or will allow other companies to participate on the industry as well, bringing different tools. uh, but I think that's the change that we have seen. Of course, like it's hard to measure when it's early. It's hard to measure when it's kind of new in the market. But I'll say that soon we'll be able to give some numbers, and soon we'll be able to give some like real analysis about how things have changed since Watch Together or co-viewing is out and being part of the OTT platforms, and part of the content providers.
No, it's. I think it'll be really interesting to see kind of how things evolve as you have and roll out with more customers and seeing how they engage. And I agree with you. I think there's a lot of potential that you can bring everyone, those viewing experiences and individual, communities or groups together in the same platform that they're consuming that content. I think there's a lot of interesting things that you can do from there. Um, with that, I looked at you guys as in a really interesting position because I feel like you're a huge social component for video content, and I coming from the outside in and looking at the space, I felt like I was just curious, and maybe this is just re-clarifying that what we talked about earlier. But I mean, do you foresee yourself evolving into more of like almost like a social network, or do you still tend to stay focused on that B2B, enabling customers and other providers to kind of build out their ecosystem or their audience?
No, I believe that for us as a company, like clearly we won't go back to being a social network. We tried, and I can tell you, like it's extremely hard. So I admire the ones that have attempted to become a social network. Is extremely hard, and trying to build features and stuff and blah blah blah, and maintain that, get content, get enough things to keep the people around that, because it's about what they have. It's about all the content they have, and the things that they can bring to their social networks to keep people there. Is super hard. So all my respect to the social networks. But for us as a software company, this is enabling platforms to have that social aspect. It's better for us, as from the business perspective, and also it gives us the freedom to, to move faster, to do other stuff, to bring more innovation, in a quicker way, without the need of being like a $1 billion company or $1 billion, social network. Gives us the chance to move faster and innovate and bring new features. Like right now we're developing many other things that will enhance the watch together experiences. But definitely no, I think we will stay as a software company, and what we will aim always is to bring that social aspect of sharing with friends to the clients we have that already own the content and that already have like existing platforms, because it makes more sense for us to do that. Also because uh, that's exactly what platforms wants to do right now. They want to understand the users they have. They want to understand what are they doing wrong, what are they doing okay, where can they improve. And there's no better experience than having your users in your platform and understanding what they watch, how they like to watch it, who with, and all that kind of information is gold for them. This is gold. Like understanding people behaviors has been like gold for the social networks, and that's how they make their money, because they understand how people, how people uh, use the service, how people interact, where people go. This kind of information is extremely valuable for the clients that we have. So probably it's not the same information that a social network will get from you, right? Because then we don't have those problems of privacy and all that kind of stuff, but it will help the OTT platforms, the content providers, to understand how probably create better content for their users, and how to create like better experiences around that content as well. So yeah, no, from our end, like we remain being a software company. We already went there. We saw that it was great, but it was extremely expensive, crazy, and yeah, no, we will stay as a software company.
No, I totally understand. I wanted to build actually off of what you just said, because I think it's you guys have done a couple different things. One is you built a tool that is really simple that enables your customers to build out a new feature that they haven't had before. But you take that one step further. You also provide a variety of analytics solutions on top of that to help them understand how their audience engages with your platform. Could you talk a little bit more about those solutions or those extra features that beyond just you know uh, the video communication interface?
Sure. So the video communication part is the part that the people enjoy. The other part is the part that the OTT provider, that the content provider enjoys, which is understanding the behavior of the people, or their subscribers. Understanding how many people they invite to watch a content, uh, how many people they invite to watch certain content, because probably for watching football you're going to invite like 5 friends, 4 friends, but probably just to watch a reality show or a movie or whatever, you're going to invite just one person. How many people accept the invitation when it comes to a football match? How many people accept the invitation when it comes to a rugby game? How many of your friends are fans of rugby? How many of your friends are fans of football within the same platform? you know uh, how long it will take for a person to join the session, and all this kind of information, uh, they can see it there, right? Like what happens, what is the difference between like you as a subscriber of, let's say, MPO or BT or one of our clients, makes when you watch the content by yourself and when you watch the content with your friends. Does it change the time that you watch with one friend, to when you watch the same content with three or four people? So all that kind of information they never knew, and now they're starting to understand that. Now what if we schedule like a session, as we schedule going to the bar to watch a game on Friday, right? What can I build from the business perspective as a company, a content provider? What kind of deals can I build, because I know that they're gonna watch a football match on Friday? What do you eat when you're watching a football match? What kind of drinks do you gonna have? So it opens up like many other information and many other opportunities that you never knew before, having that capability, or that possibility in your platform. So all that kind of information is information that Scenic gathers like in the back end, and that's information that the our clients will be able to analyze as well, and to take advantage of that information. Important to say that as Scenic, we never have access on who's your client, who's the end user. For us, it's just a code, a piece of code that will match with the piece of code that the OTT provider has. We match that as a user ID, and then we'll identify who that person is. No names. We don't know what the subscription is, if it's premium or it's not, blah, blah, blah. But we can understand the individual and the behavior of that individual without knowing who the person is. So it's like, is GDPR, we say in Europe, GDPR compliant. We don't know any data specifically of a user or an individual, but we do understand each of their individual behaviors on their platforms without the need of knowing like more about them and their privacy.
It's another just value add is not only having the tool and the feature set that's provided towards for content providers, but then saying here's the analytics tools on top of that to really showcase that this is how it's driving engagement. This is how your users are connecting with your platform and using it in ways that you probably haven't seen before. I think that
Exactly.
it's fantastic, and it definitely looking at it from even further perspective, seeing how uh, content providers in the video space now have, I think, a much deeper view of how their users are actually watching content, which I think it's hard to really measure that when you're not really seeing if people are engaged or not. If something is playing and content is playing, are people in the room? Are they watching actually? Are they really engaged? Can you tell that they're engaged or not? You don't know. But now when you have a social experience that people are sharing and you can see that they're engaging with each other on the same platform now that you control, which in your own platform, and you can see that, I think that's really exciting and really impressive, and I think very valuable long term for this industry. Um, I want to take a step back and ask more general questions,
Sure.
but I'm curious because what is your business model? Because this is not necessarily a tool that I commonly seen, and I think for content providers in this space. I mean, you are a software company. Is this a traditional SaaS model, or what is that relationship that you build with your customers?
Yeah, so it's very straightforward and very simple for our customers, clients. We call it partners as well, because like the difference of working with the software provider, as probably Microsoft or any other big company, is like we work you know uh, hand by hand with our clients. So they're more like partners, because we want to understand their needs. We want to understand how they want to use the feature uh, for. So it's very straightforward. It is a software as a service model. So they do pay a licensing fee, like a monthly licensing fee for our solution. But on top of that, we can build more SDKs if they have more platforms. If they need and a specific SDK for a type of platform that they have that is not out in the market, we can build that for them. uh, very quickly, very easily. Uh, but yeah, but it's very simple. Like it's a monthly licensing fee when it comes to that, and any other features that they need to be developed, like tailored for them and specifically built for their platforms, we will do as well. And we actually discovering many other users together with the clients that we have. Um, uses our technology, like many other features that they want to enable on their platforms within, like, uh, our own technology. They want to put some stuff on top. We build it for them, and we build together with them. So it's like a monthly licensing fee, simple, but we work as we were part of the development team when it comes to the implementation of co-viewing experiences on their platforms.
I mean, for both of you guys, it's a win-win scenario with your solution. Um, I'm also curious, because uh, looking at the media industry as a whole, one of the things you kind of see is that content or media evolves in a lot of different ways and continuously changes, whether the type of content, the form of content, the content length, the platform that it's distributed on, et cetera. I'm just curious, how do you think uh, the TV industry has evolved? I mean, we've seen a big shift towards on-demand or OTT services, but how do you think the TV industry is evolving, and where do you see Scenic in that?
Look, you just mentioned, like, the TV industry is moving towards like on demand, and they have seen like a massive change like in the past, we'll say 10 years, that the acceleration of that change has been greater than before. People like to watch what they want when they want to, and that's it. With that said, like, we have a couple of clients that we're working with that I unfortunately can mention right now, because the feature is not available yet for all their users. But we do have clients that are bringing this experience to the traditional TV through set-top boxes. I think co-viewing will be the feature that will give them, uh, you know, a way to step forward, and because they're a bit behind. uh, but incorporating like this kind of solutions or technologies through their set-top boxes for the traditional TV, it will help them a lot. We, we have to say that you know there's a lot of money involved in the OTT business right now, but also there are many OTT platforms around the world. Despite that, there are many other OTT platforms, and every week there is a new OTT platform. All the content deals that probably the traditional TV had in place are deals for 20, 30, 50 years. And believe it or not, I will say probably more than 60% of all the revenue from the entertainment industry goes to the traditional TV channels and the traditional TV industry. So like there's a lot of money there. And the problem is they don't want people to leave that because they have the deals, they have the money there. They just need something to enable people to stay, and and I think the use of our technology and other technologies, because they're just starting right now, will help them a lot. In the end, I believe that is gonna be probably like 70% OTT, and I'm not an authority on this kind of discussions, and probably a 30% like traditional TV. But you still have it. There is a big amount of money involved in traditional TV industry, and all what they need right now is to update themselves, and bring some technologies. Uh, but they're starting, they're starting to do it, and that will help them to evolve a little bit, because they're still far behind the rest of the industry.
No, it's really interesting how you. I think it's also fantastic that you kind of cater to both players, both traditional broadcasters as well as OTT providers, and really say, you make the giving them tools to really make the drive more and more engagement at their existing audience, and I continue to build out, what they've already built, and I think it's fantastic. Um, it's actually interesting. Obviously, it's a interesting moment in everyone's lives, but I just have to ask you, and I'm curious, how has the pandemic affected either your company or your industry?
Well, yeah, definitely. In terms of the pandemic has been extremely hard for all of us. I think personally, unfortunately, this pandemic has affected, like, personally, members of our teams, and so it's very unfortunate that what we have been going through as humans, as this is something that affected the entire world. Now, for us as a company, and as the industry, like, we have seen like a massive growth in our company, and all the deals that we were working, because all the companies that we're working with right now that you can see live are companies that we have been working with for like 2 years, 3 years, 3 years and a half. So it's not something that happened because of COVID. There were implementations that were taking place already, and the reason why they were taking place is because right now, not right now, but in a world before COVID, uh, it was normal that you know children will live, like, in a different country. Your best friend probably living like in a different country as well, or different city. So people were separated by distance anyway, and what we were trying to do was to bring that people that were separated by distance, like, together, around the content they love. Now, unfortunately, people are, like, in many countries, they're in lockdown. Like, the pandemic has affected a lot of mobility for people. So of course, for us as an enabler, we have seen a massive growth in the industry, and in the use of video calling technologies. So the rise of Zoom, like, the rise of other video calling services has been, like, massive. That we're talking about, like, in billions for them, as public companies. But also for other video calling providers, we have seen that this industry is just growing and growing and growing and growing. And now that everyone is doing everything at home or from home, as we're doing right now, a conference, from home, and this kind of events, like, the industry, it will keep growing. It will keep growing because we have proven that it is possible to work from home and be efficient. It is possible to study, being at home. Is possible to enjoy a football match without going to the stadium. Like, it's not the same experience, but it is possible. And many other stuff that we have seen, like, even training. So we have seen a massive growth, and I believe it will keep growing, because right now what happened is that the people that weren't used to use video, now they're used to. It's part of their behavior. It takes 3 months for a person to form a behavior. Well, it's been a year now, and using video is now part of your life. It's part of your lifestyle. Even your grandparents, even the oldies are used to use it right now. My mom used video call with my son, like, every day, mostly. She lives in Spain, and she wants to see her grandson. And that's the way we do it. Before, it wasn't like she didn't know how to use it. So now even the oldies know how to use it, and this will keep growing and growing. It has affected our industry in a good way. uh yeah, it is unfortunate for the rest of the humans, all the industries that have been affected negatively by this pandemic. But for all the ones that are in the video content industry, in the video calling industry, the growth has been, like, just extremely big.
I think this is one of the things that it's a weird silver lining, because when everyone's stuck at home and sitting inside, what else can you do other than binge watch your your TV shows that you enjoy. I know I've watched too many of them already. Uh, Johnny, thanks so much for spending so much time. I only have one more question that I wanted to ask you, and then we'll close out. But I think of your Scenic as almost like a social video tool, and um, I'm just curious, where do you think the future of social video experiences are going, and what do you see that most people don't?
Well, I can tell you something that we have seen and we already started working on, like training together. So fitness industries is an industry that has suffered a lot from the pandemic. Like, big gym chains like around the world have moved to use Zoom. But again, like they're using a tool that they cannot integrate within their apps. They cannot integrate within the apps for tablets or mobiles or for TV screens and so forth. So this is an industry that we're starting to enter right now, the fitness industry, but also seeing like this tool being used because we have a couple of clients, of course, for education. We have seen like the betting together is something that is growing as well. So I think that the betting industry is another industry that will have like a massive growth when it comes to doing stuff. Um, uh, you'll see that like towards like mid this year, or probably towards the final quarter of 2021. You will see that like I'll say like mainly fitness and betting as well. Education is already happening, like people already use this tool for education, but there will probably be many other like ways of applying this technology for that kind of industries. And also one thing that we're working on is you know augmented reality video calling, and this is very interesting. This is very interesting because it came as an idea of, as I mentioned, my mom lives in Spain, uh, but I would love to go for a walk with my mom, which is not possible because we live in different countries, which is not possible because of what's happening right now. What if I have a set of augmented reality glasses, that I can use normally as glasses to go for a walk? They're not VR headsets, so I can see where I'm going to. What if I can see her walking next to me? So that's something that Scenic is already working on. We have a great partner in India, and we have another partner in Europe that we're working with to develop this kind of capabilities. And probably the first prototype we will have it, I think probably mid 2021 we'll have the first prototype, working prototype of this kind of technology. Probably we'll be able to share that with you. More than happy to do that. But yeah, I think co-doing, co-watching, or togetherness, as we call it, like, is just starting to grow, and we will see many other uses for this kind of technologies, like in the near future.
Awesome. No, I agree 100%. I feel like one of the biggest limitations of content is that it's very static. There's not the ways in which you can engage with it, what feels real, and having that social component to it is what's.
One was one thing I mentioned to my business partner, to Paul, the CEO. I said to him, I think it will be very interesting if someone assumes the challenge of creating content specifically for watch together. And what I mean by this, if someone is watching in the audience and is involved in, producing content, like, but what if we have the kind of content that can be watched by friends at the same time, synchronized, but from different points of view? That would be extremely interesting, and that will be a content created and produced for watching together, just from different perspectives. That could be very interesting. I'll say that probably someone is already working around that, but it will be crazy to see something like that. Being able to choose, like, different points of view of the same content that they're watching. That'll be crazy.
I feel like there's a lot of unique applications that could come from a tool that really enables individuals to really interact with content in a different way. And I think that could evolve into games, that could evolve into experiences, that could evolve into a lot of different things. But one of the things, I guess, with that, Johnny, thank you so much for taking a good part of your day and time to do this. Again, I really
Oh,
appreciate
thank you. Thank you for
it.
listening.
Yeah, of course. Before I close out, is there any things that you want to share with the audience, announce, any asks that you may have?
Sure, like I'll say that probably the best thing to stay tuned with Scenic, because you will see like quite a lot of announcements. I already mentioned right now what we're working on as the augmented reality video calling prototype. We are also producing it's not a set-top box, but is a device that will enhance the watch together experiences for the big screens. So I don't know, you probably have seen like the Facebook has a set-top box that they call, can't remember the name right now, um, but they have a set-top box for co-viewing. So they're bringing this Portal TV. It's called Portal TV. So Scenic is bringing something similar to its customers. So our clients will be able to use that to enable people, to enhance the watch together experience they already have right now. But also there is an interesting case study or research that a sports innovation lab from the US made about co-viewing between 2019 and 2020, and we're fortunate enough to be named like game changers in that index that they have. And I think that they will show like really good insights about the industry and the co-viewing industry, and who are the players in this industry and what are they doing, which is very, very, very interesting. So I'll stay tuned for that, and we will keep you updated about what is happening with Scenic. But
Awesome.
again, thank you so much for the space, and yeah, happy to be here sharing with you.
Of course. No, thanks, Johnny, again, for taking the time to do this. And again, for the audience, why we had this interview, it's, we looked at well over 60 companies in we think of the video platform category. And one of the tools that really stood out to us was Scenic. And Scenic is, I think, taking a really interesting and unique approach and thinking about how you can enable, especially content providers, to keep audience more engaged, to make a content viewing experience more enjoyable, and bringing people onto the same platform, into the same room, into a live experience through video communication or audio or combination of both, to be able to consume content in a way that I don't think they've ever been able to do before. And from that, I think there's so many unique applications that can grow from that, which just makes me really excited about having this opportunity to chat with you, Johnny. And no, it's really impressive, not only what you've started with, and the customers that you have today, and the verticals that you're focused on. We talked about sports earlier, but on top of that, you've built out tools to enable the customers or partners that you work with today have a better understanding about how their audience is engaging with your platform, and being able to see firsthand how engagement, that you could drive a lot more engagement when people are in the same room together and actually watching content together, and having insights they probably didn't have before. And then towards the end, you even mentioned that you have a lot of other projects going on in the background that's really going to change the future of co-viewing experiences. And then also, it's going to be exciting to see that Sports Innovation Lab has really highlighted you guys as probably one of the most impressive co-viewing experiences tools, or in this case, a game changer for this industry. And I 100% agree. So Johnny, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.